Welcome, guys.
Oh, used to doing this. I use every week.
Good. Let's get our friends rounded up here and you probably push your switch there forward. Jeff knows the deal. All right, good morning again for the second time. We're going to be busy this morning with our availability, so without any further ado, I have three people up here at the table. The one in the center is very familiar to you. Jeff Gordon, driver of the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet, and I think he's going to tell you who else is on his car this weekend. But he is here for his chase availability. He also has Detective David Spicer and investigator Kyle Russell with him. And so I will let Jeff tell you why he has these two guests with him this morning.
Well, if take a look at our race car this weekend, it's the DuPont PoliceMuseum.org Chevrolet, and DuPont has partnered with the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund to help raise money for the building of the National Law Enforcement Museum, which will have its groundbreaking in Washington, D.C. on October 14th. The Memorial Fund and museum are all about promoting police officer safety, and that's why DuPont has become so involved. A lot of people are probably aware that they make Kevlar, and all the different uses for Kevlar, but primarily in the body armor for the law enforcement officers. So I guess in a way I'm certainly not the highlight of this event because I'm going to turn it over to these guys. But I guess in a way you could say that Detective Spicer here of the Dover Police Department and Investigator Russell are here with us today because of DuPont. So let's see, we'll start with you.
My name is Kyle Russell.
Kyle, use your microphone so we can grab the audio. There you go. Thank you.
My name is Kyle Russell. I work in Alexandria, Virginia. It's located right outside of Washington, D.C. I was shot on September 23rd, 2008. I was a field training officer. I was responsible for training new recruits that had recently graduated the academy. We were traveling on 395, which is interstate, close to Washington, D.C. We were passed by a vehicle at a high rate of speed, the vehicle driving very erratic. We initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle. The vehicle abruptly pulled over to the right side of the road. I told the guy I was training, his name's Aaron Fisher, to mark out on a traffic stop. I quickly approached the car on the passenger side. When I walked up to the car, I could see the driver was in distress. My initial thought was that he was having a seizure. He had blood coming from his mouth. He was foaming. And I shone my light on him, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, are you okay?" And he looked over at me, and he growled and pulled out a .45 caliber pistol and shot me in the chest. Yes. I immediately took cover, dove over the guardrail. My recruit officer, Aaron, did the same thing. The driver fled the scene in the vehicle immediately, and unfortunately, he shot himself in the head and killed himself about a mile from where he had shot me. Investigators soon went to his apartment to make notification to his wife to let her know that her husband had just shot a police officer and had committed suicide, and they found that she was dead in the closet. He had recently just been dishonorably discharged from the military, and he had killed his wife with a M4 assault rifle inside the apartment, and he had the M4 rifle in the car with him, and he had seven magazines loaded with 30 rounds in each magazine. So we don't really know what he was going to do. He didn't leave a note or anything, but I'm truly blessed to be here. Thank DuPont for making the fiber that saved my life. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for body armor. Just encourage police officers out there to please wear your vests, and if there's any departments out there that don't issue them, it's very important. We need this to stay alive. So thank you, DuPont, for having us here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, this is the actual vest that go ahead.
This is the vest that I was wearing that night. I took the round right here. See the hole right in there. And I had a soft trauma plate, which actually it nicked just the corner of that. And then if you open it up, you can see where the bullet blew through the fabric in the back and had a big hole. They said if it had penetrated me any further, about 2 inches, it would have pierced my heart. So there's no doubt in my mind that this vest definitely saved my life. So I just want to thank Jeff for having us here and supporting the Law Enforcement Memorial Museum. It's very important to us, and it means a lot. Thank you.
Detective Spicer.
Good morning. My name's Dave Spicer. I work for the City of Dover Police Department. On March 24, 2001, I was working patrol in the area of Capitol Green, which is about 2 miles from here. On that particular evening, about 8:45, I saw what I thought was a hand-to-hand drug transaction between two individuals in the neighborhood. I tried to contact them. Foot pursuit ensued. I started chasing the one suspect through the development. Just as I was about to tackle him and place him under arrest, he displayed a .45 caliber handgun, shot me 2 times. The first round shot me in the left brachial artery, and the second round hit my left humerus bone. I couldn't move my arm at all. I still managed to tackle the suspect to the ground. On top of him, he shot me 2 more times, point-blank range. The next round shot me on the right side of my chest, hit my name tag, and tore about a 10-inch tear in my bulletproof vest. The second round hit my badge on the left side of my chest and ricocheted across the street. The suspect actually got his hands underneath my chest and pushed me onto the blacktop. I remember the asphalt at that time of year being very cold, but I could feel the blood running down my back. I knew I was hit pretty hard. According to my partner, who was in the car at the time, he got out of the car. The suspect was standing over top of me, about to execute me. He engaged the suspect, shot him dead center mass in his chest, which drew his attention from me, and the suspect engaged fire with my partner, shot the vehicle, and then missed the vehicle completely. As I'm laying on the blacktop, I was blinded as a result of the gunpowder, close contact, and the gunpowder burned my eyes. I managed to get my sight back after about 15 seconds. It felt like forever. I was able to return fire and striking the suspect 1 time. He managed to flee the scene and was apprehended about 2 hours later. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank DuPont, Jeff, for allowing us to come here today. It's definitely an honor. Without DuPont and their technology and their bulletproof vest, I would not have been able to sustain another injury. I lost over 7 pints of blood on the street here in Dover. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys for your service and for your stories and sharing with us. Obviously, this is a very important cause. Money raised through the commemorative T-shirts and diecast car sales of this special paint scheme that I'm running today here at Dover will be used to fund and build this museum. And you can go to policemuseum.org to see how you can get involved or how to purchase a T-shirt or a die-cast car. But I just personally want to thank DuPont as well for allowing us to bring more awareness to this cause, to this museum, and to this fund, and for their involvement and for saving so many lives, because there's stories like this that are happening every single day. So thank you guys for being here. And I guess we'll open it up for questions.
That sounds good, gentlemen. We're glad you're here. Raise your hand so I can see you, and we will start off. State your name and affiliation, both for Jeff and our law enforcement friends. I saw Claire first, then we'll go Pete, Chuck, and Joe.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius NASCAR Radio. Your story, very compelling, almost sounds like a war zone. You wouldn't really think that was here in America, a police story. How many law officers do you think don't get the protection because they can't afford it, or, they're not getting it? And then how do you ever go back and arrest anyone or shine the light or stop anyone after those stories? It's got to be tough.
Gentlemen?
Well, first of all, it is very difficult once an incident happens like this, but you have to get back on the horse, so to speak. And that's what I did. As quickly as I could recover. Took about 6 months. I got back to work, and my first traffic stop, I can tell you, was a little scary for me. It's probably more scary for my family. But there are agencies out there, police agencies across the country. These agencies are very small in size, and they're not able to afford bulletproof vests or Kevlar for their officers. And a lot of times the officer has to purchase that equipment himself. And more often than not, the vests expire after a certain period of time, and these officers continue to wear it because of money or funding. They're wearing expired vests. So we encourage our department here in Dover is not a mandatory vest wear department. It's still optional, and we still have officers that do not wear their vest, believe it or not. And even though it happens so close here at home.
Kyle.
I could definitely second what he said. I was back on the job about 3.5 months after I was shot, and it definitely makes you think a little bit more about what can happen. You always know that it can, but once it really does happen, it really hits home. But it's a job that somebody has to do it, so I've elected to continue to do it. I have full support of my family and everybody. My wife is incredibly supportive, and I know my department actually changed to a mandatory vest wear policy after my incident. We had not been mandatory wear. All officers were issued body armor, and actually my department took another step, and they actually upgraded everybody's body armor to a higher threat level once they saw the damage that round did to my vest and how much I was injured. They actually upgraded everybody's body armor. So, and technologies, they keep on advancing and getting better, but it is really important that officers have this gear. It really saves lives.
Pete.
Pete Pistone, Sirius NASCAR Radio, MotorRacingNetwork.com. First, thank you, officers, for sharing your stories. Thank you for your service, Jeff. Congratulations to you and DuPont for bringing this to light. A racing question, Jeff. Given what happened with the 33 and Clint Boyer and everything that happened in New Hampshire, does that put your team in any heightened awareness or heightened security to make sure that everything is buttoned up when we get to these next few races?
Well, you got to remember we've experienced what they've gone through, in the past. So we kind of feel like we were the first ones that were made aware of how tight the tolerances are. And I'm not exactly sure, all the details of what went on there, and I know there's an appeal, but because we've been through this, we already are aware that this can happen to any of us at any time, and that you really have to go out there and build the best race cars that you possibly can. But they've got to be able to go to that tech center and come back to your shop without the phone call from NASCAR.
Let's take questions for our for David and Kyle first on the Law Enforcement Museum program, and then we'll jump to racing questions. Who's got a question? Chuck, I see Chuck.
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks for coming in. My question, actually, Claire hit on it about the availability and who's paying for them. But I would follow this up when they're required. Like, do they check to be sure everybody's wearing them? I mean, are they uncomfortable? I mean, is there a reason not to wear them?
They're definitely not comfortable, but I think with the price that, I'd rather be a little uncomfortable and be alive than be real comfortable and dead. So I think the vest wear, I think it's about 60%. About 60% of officers on the street actually wear vests. So at least 40% of our officers are not fully protected on the street to face what we come into contact with every day. So if you think about that number, it's actually really astounding.
Who else for David and Kyle? And any questions about the Law Enforcement Museum? Anyone else?